Hello and welcome to today's webinar. Our main discussion today is system transitions. My name is Simon Fedorovsky. I'm a partner at Sphere Consulting and have been in the industry since 2011 doing accounting, managerial accounting, and transitions as well. Our main concern today is to discuss what is the value for business owners to go from one accounting system to another. What are the complications? What do I look out for? What software do I go with? And primarily, who's involved in the process and how long it takes. I'm really excited to share with you that we have a panel here with a bunch of questions that are lined up and people are constantly writing. So we'll go through them in a little bit to see which ones need to be answered and which ones are really the main questions of the specific topic. One of the main questions that we typically get from business owners is which software do we go with? Do we go with NetSuite? Do we go with SAP? Do we go with Quickbooks, FreshBooks, Zoho? It truly depends on the industry, on the company size, and where you're going. Now, a lot of industries have specific software that typically gets recommended, but our firm really assesses the value of the business and where they want to go within the next 5 to 10 years to be able to say, you know what, let's go with this software instead of this. Let's take a look at a couple of questions from the webinar. Jared asked a very good question. What is the step-by-step approach with the system transition and how long does it typically take? This is a really typical question that we get quite often. A system transition really relies on how complex the business is, where the business wants to go in 5 to 10 years, and what industry it's in, right? So typically, on average, transition will take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to complete from start to finish, plus customizations, right? And that could take a little bit of time after, but it really depends. Our main goal is to partner you with one of our team members to really lead the project, and then a few other members will be involved in actually doing some of the work internally. So we have specific teams internally that handle different software, where the capacity is strong in particularly, if we're working with QuickBooks or we're working with SAP, those are two different people that understand the system a lot better. So we pair you with somebody who truly knows the system inside out, and then we take it from there on a step-by-step approach. Typically, this is a 1 to 3 phase project, starting with the master data, building out the architectural design of the system or the ERP, and then working from there to really close out the balances, the accounting side, and really getting the business up and running in the new system for go live. This is a great approach, and it's been very successful in the last couple of years, especially with industries growing with tech. As we continue to develop more integrations and automations, this is actually an incredibly successful tactic that our firm has developed. Let's move on to the next question. We have Lauren here, or Lorne, sorry if I mispronounce your name. What happens to the old data when we transition the system? Do we lose it? Okay, this is a really good question. Typically what we see for business owners, and this is quite understandable, is you want to make sure that you have all of your documents and relevant information from the past saved in your system. This is really good for anything that would happen in the future, potentially any risk that has to be dealt with right down the road. So it's a very typical concern. Now in North America, the practical method of doing a system transition is an opening balance method. We also do a historical upload, but it's not as commonly done in the industry, especially in North America, and it's a very tedious task. But we're probably one of the few firms that can actually handle this and take it if it's necessary. The idea is that you would move the opening balances at a specific date, particularly the year end would be ideal, but we can also do quarter ends, and move it into the new system. This includes all the relevant information that is related to the opening balance, but it does not include any of the historical data. That would be housed in the old system, if that would be QuickBooks, FreshBooks, or Zoho, and they would sit there for X amount of years for compliance. Next question. We have Kyle here who asked, my developer is recommending a specific software and is offering to do the transition himself. This is also a very typical question. When you're doing a system transition, there's a lot that goes into play. Developers typically don't know the accounting side of things. They know a specific system. When we're doing a system migration, I would highly recommend you discuss this with a professional accountant, probably one of us, because it is very specific to your industry and specific to the software you're going to. We get a lot of different companies coming our way that have done this with partners who have struggled, unfortunately. This is mainly because, industry-specific information is important, and accounting knowledge is also very, very critical. Okay, Clarence asked, how important is it to go with one specific system versus another? When we talk about system transitions, you're talking about an investment. You're buying a software, you're committing to a software for X amount of years. This is a critical decision for the business, especially for the business owner. It depends on where you want to go, where you want to grow. What industry are you in? Do you need manufacturing? Do you have expense reports that you need to submit? Every single question that is asked is either X amount of dollars to add another software to the package from another supplier like Concur or Expensify for expenses, or it's another add-on that is unnecessary in terms of integrations. There could be potential hiccups down the road. You don't know if all these companies will be around, right? So for example, we have a lot of companies that are working with QuickBooks that are using SOS inventory. Whether that's a good system or not, at some point you will outgrow the system, or there might be some issues with the integrations. This is a very crucial question to know how to answer. Working with a company like us, we can guide you depending on the industry that you're in and the size that you're in to the right system. A company that is doing manufacturing, the exact same manufacturing but is laid out differently, can go with one particular software versus another. So a lot of questions need to be answered here in order to give the proper advice. Next question from Mary. We are currently using QuickBooks for accounting and are using HubSpot as a CRM. How can we avoid doing manual data upload? Right. QuickBooks is a closed-ended system, which means that any master data that you have in terms of customer master data, any kind of history, all of that would have to be manually uploaded into the system. This is a painful process that we see quite a bit, and it's avoidable if you use the right software. Now, you can go many different approaches, different routes, but the idea would be that you would centralize the type of CRM that you're using with the accounting software, whether that would be NetSuite CRM and NetSuite accounting software, or you use something like Zoho CRM and Zoho Books, where there's an natural integration between the two systems. Then those work in live, obviously, so that would be the best case scenario. Next question is from Carl. We are currently using a bookkeeper, and we feel like we are in the dark. We are on QuickBooks Desktop, and the bookkeeper is the only person that has access. Okay, so as the industry evolves, especially from an accounting perspective, a lot of companies are starting to integrate into cloud accounting solutions. Now, this allows a lot of different opportunities to come up. One of which is user accessibility. We can customize different roles, we can customize different access points, and we can customize the fact that the system is live and it's on the cloud, right? So everybody can have access. We can have custom reports for CEOs, dashboards created, and the entire idea is that everything is running in live. When you're working on any software where only one person has access, whether that's cloud or desktop, you're running into a lot of risk where you really don't know how the business is doing. Things are in the dark, you're coming there once a month, you're dumping receipts and you're leaving. It sounds great from the perspective of offhand's approach, but it's not really good from a business owner perspective. You want to be involved with the finances, they're quite important, and you want to know how the business is doing as a whole. So cloud solutions really help us work on that and be able to give you what you need from a reporting and access perspective. In addition, one of the main things that business owners struggle with is getting reports that are extremely accounting focused. And that is mixed with a lot of accounting jargon and crap that they don't care about and not as catered towards them. One of the main things that we do is we try to avoid all of that and just really give the business owner what they need. Specific reports that are easy to read, not overcomplicated like a general ledger. It's not necessary. A business owner needs to have in front of them what is the most efficient and successful for them to be able to make the right decisions, not what is required by the government or, for compliance. So from that perspective, also the way that reports are being shown to business owners is extremely important. Thank you for joining me in this webinar. I appreciate your time greatly. If you would like to reach us at Sphere Consulting, look us up on Google, check us out on our website, leave us a comment below and somebody will get back to you. We are very, very excited to speak with you if you need any assistance with your system transition. We are currently operating in Toronto, but also in North America as a whole and Western Europe. Leave us a comment, reach us out, and we'll help you out with your transition. I look forward to seeing you and seeing you more in the next webinar.